The number one problem that senior leaders have, and managers, and all actually individual leaders, personal leaders as well, there is a lack of time that's set aside for strategy and reflection, and that is the time that will give you better results. So, there's been a lot of conversation in the last year or two about, Mark Zuckerberg called last year the year of efficiency, which makes me recoil a little bit, because it's not to say that there isn't a place for efficiency. I think process does give you efficiency. At the same time, what I often find organizations doing is, because they're not taking that time to reflect, to strategize, to simplify, they're not being effective. So we're squeezing out the last drop of everything so we can get just a little more margin, and we can bump, we can please the analysts, and that is real. That is a real need of organizations. They got to make their earnings. They have a responsibility to the shareholders, but they have a lot of other responsibilities too. And I think that the leaders who I think are the most forward-looking are the ones who can be really clear, who are taking that time to really articulate their strategy clearly, to communicate it early and often, over and over and over and over again, to the point where people are like, yes, I get it. I understand what our strategy is. Because very rarely do I walk into an organization where everyone's like, yep, I get it. I know what our strategy is. It's very unusual. And then if we think about things like innovation, and we want to build a culture of innovation, we want motivated people. We want people to have agency, but we don't have a plan, right? So we don't have an innovation strategy that's connected to our core business strategy. That's kind of what I love about intrapreneurship, because, while I'm all for enterprise-wide transformation, I think that's really important. I also think it's a bit of a unicorn, maybe not a unicorn, but somewhere in there. It's not very common. An endangered species of corporate.
Yeah, that is a great way to put it.
It doesn't happen very often. That's pretty well studied. And what intrapreneurship does is it helps people understand how they do just that. So first, how do I really define a problem? And then how do I break it down into small pieces until it's something that I can actually address? Then how do I validate that to make sure that it's actually something that we know is a real problem, not something I thought about or we talked about inside the four walls of our organization, but a real problem that our users tell us is a problem. And then after that, how do we do solutioning so that we're coming up with solutions that are maybe better, completely different than we already had? And then thinking about, well, what is the value and how do we articulate value and so on, until you finally have to understand the needs of whoever you have to pitch to. It could be, pitching for funding, or it could be pitching to somebody in, UX who you need your buddy to drop a wireframe for you, or someone in financial modeling. In my house, it's often for children. I have to really think about their needs. So I can't do anything that I ask them to do. But so that you can actually have this core set of what I think are fantastic leadership skills, so that you can feel agency, so you can feel really confident, so you know how to simplify and get things done. And that feeling of confidence and agency, and having that skill set, that's what makes people feel engaged. That's what makes them stay in an organization. That's what drives sort of this bottom-up innovation. So I kind of think it's clearly I have drunk my own Kool-Aid. I genuinely believe this now, after 15 years of this research, that it has that kind of value.